Whenever I'm around Toner, my sex drive completely dries up.
Get this thing out of here. Mom!
The biggest comedy in America was never once nominated for Best Comedy.
Still here? Hey, Jack, your disturbingly hot wife is on line 2 again.
A sitcom star was killed by his own wife, and his show died with him. One series NBC canceled after one season became the mother of television's biggest franchise. A cartoon murdered its hero to sell toys and traumatized a generation. Transformers! And number 1 on this list beat Seinfeld for an Emmy. 20 shows that ruled your childhood and vanished. You watched them, you forgot them, and by the end, you'll be furious at what Hollywood erased.
Not sitting around counting money and discussing women's underwear.
Number 20. It beat Seinfeld for an Emmy. Let that sink in. Burt Reynolds played a retired football player turned high school coach in small-town Arkansas.
You know, I never wanted to be an actor. I wanted to be a football coach. And
for 4 years, this was peak dad TV. Evening Shade aired on CBS with Ossie Davis, Hal Holbrook, and Mary Lou Henner, winning Outstanding Comedy Series in 1991. We watched for 4 seasons and 98 episodes before CBS decided small-town wholesomeness wasn't cool enough anymore.
Honey, you couldn't possibly be pregnant.
Why does this have to happen now? You did this on purpose.
This was the show your parents watched after dinner while you did homework on the floor. Pure folksy charm at a time when TV was pivoting to urban cynicism. Small-town America became box office poison overnight. Still, it proved movie stars could do TV without their careers being over, which was actually a big deal back then. But if you think this looks cinematic, wait until you see what NBC spent per episode just so Phil Collins could soundtrack your Friday night.
Now we can do this in one of 2 flavors. I can either blow you all away and just drive this caddy back to Moscow, or you can come out on your own.
Number 19. NBC spent $1.3 million per episode just so Phil Collins could soundtrack your Friday night. Don Johnson and Philip Michael Thomas made pastel suits and no socks a national obsession, turning 2 undercover cops into fashion icons.
While you gentlemen were out window shopping for $1,200 suits, I learned.
Miami Vice ran 114 episodes, scored 20 Emmy nominations, won 4, and was the second most watched show behind The Cosby Show. It invented MTV Cops, made Ray-Ban Wayfarers sell 720,000 units in 1 year, and single-handedly revitalized South Beach from a retirement dump into a tourist destination.
Why don't you just go without me?
Hey, you want something to wear? Wear this!
Then, by season 5, it cratered to number 64 in the ratings. Turns out style over substance has a shelf life. But it proved network TV could look like a movie and launched careers through guest spots. Bruce Willis, Jimmy Smits, and dozens more got their break here. From cops who dressed like models to a guy who looked perpetually ready to throw a clipboard at someone's head.
I'm in love. With what? With a girl.
Number 18. We tolerated angry middle-aged men yelling on TV for nearly a decade, and somehow that was entertainment. Craig T. Nelson played Hayden Fox, a grumpy football coach in Minnesota, and Coach regularly cracked the top 10 against Seinfeld and Home Improvement. Nelson won an Emmy in 1992 for basically perfecting the art of being perpetually annoyed. Then, after 7 solid seasons, the show decided Hayden should coach a fake NFL team in Orlando. Nobody asked for that. We didn't follow him to Florida, ratings tanked, and ABC pulled the plug in 1997 after 9 seasons and 200 episodes. This was a show for middle America, where football was religion and everyone knew their neighbor's business. When networks started chasing younger, coastal audiences, Coach was done.
What the hell does rapier mean?
Pointed to the heart.
What? Oh no, Don.
But it proved flyover state TV could dominate primetime. Speaking of shows that couldn't find their audience, the next one had actual superpowers and still couldn't survive.
We're a team, and we're organized. It's locked. It's locked.
Number 17. Courtney Cox had telekinetic powers before she had a coffee shop, and almost nobody saw it. NBC gave us a 7-foot shrinking scientist, a rock musician shooting lightning from his hands, and Cox as a teenage psychic. then canceled it after 16 episodes. Brandon Tartikoff greenlit this, trying to capitalize on Ghostbusters, hoping kids would show up for superhero hijinks on Friday nights. They didn't. Dallas was on the other channel, and America chose the Ewings over lightning bolts. One episode never even aired. The show limped through NBC's schedule and vanished by February 1986.
In Miami, I mean, it wasn't really sort of thought out. It was just organic. I started just removing articles of clothing.
But episode 9 was Tim Kring's first paid writing job. He'd later create Heroes 20 years later. Misfits planted the seed for the superhero TV boom, then died so others could live. That's the most superhero thing it ever did. From superpowers nobody watched to a show that had must-see TV placement and still couldn't make us care.
I've read every Caroline strip, I have every Caroline book, every Caroline calendar, every Caroline greeting card, especially the get well ones.
Number 16. NBC gave this show the best time slot in television history, and we still forgot it existed. Leah Thompson played a Manhattan cartoonist drawing a comic strip about her messy love life while living her messy love life. Meta before meta was cool. Caroline in the City scored a spot in Must See TV's Thursday lineup, which meant it legally owned the night.
I say that like it's my fault. Well, the old lady in Murder, She Wrote never thinks it's her fault, but every time she shows up at a dinner party, someone dies.
We watched Caroline and her colorist Richard do the will they won't they dance for 4 seasons because we were already on the couch. NBC aired 97 episodes, then canceled it, leaving us with a wedding cliffhanger that never got resolved. We just had to live with that. It existed in the same universe as Frasier and Cheers, which was cool if you noticed. Another single woman in the city show trying to be the next big thing, except 5 other shows had the same premise. From a cartoonist we forgot to robots we'll never forget. A 22-minute toy commercial that conquered the world.
How do we know Cybertron still exists? It must exist.
Number 15. They killed Optimus Prime in a movie theater and traumatized an entire generation of children. The Transformers ran in syndication for 4 seasons and 98 episodes, and it was the most sophisticated toy commercial ever made. Hasbro needed 65 episodes for weekday syndication.
Any luck, Jazz? Negative. North side of Cybertron's blacker than the inside of a drive shaft.
So they made exactly that many in 2 seasons. The math was never subtle. It aired alongside G.I. Joe as Reagan-era cartoon capitalism, teaching kids that good triumphs over evil and also that they should beg their parents for toys. Then they made a theatrical movie in 1986, killed beloved characters to clear shelf space for new merchandise, and scarred us forever. The animation was rushed, the continuity was a mess, and none of that mattered because the premise was bulletproof.
Give it up, Megatron. The universe is mine.
This spawned a multi-billion-dollar franchise still going strong. Proof that if you hook kids early, they'll buy the same truck robot for 40 years. From transforming robots to siblings who couldn't transform their dysfunction, a tiny airport that somehow felt like the center of the universe.
My girlfriend and I just recently broke up, and no matter what I do, she won't take me back. I mean, I've tried everything.
Well, what a sad story.
Yeah.
Number 14. It aired after Cheers, and that's literally the only reason we watched it. 2 brothers running a one-gate airline on Nantucket Island became 8 years of our lives without us really knowing why.
You know I can't give out the names of my passengers. You ever hear of FAA regulations?
Wings pulled millions weekly and ranked top 25 for multiple seasons. Insane numbers for a show about a dinky airport. It was dirt cheap to produce. 1 set, small cast, no effects, just solid writing and ensemble chemistry.
I just had hair plugs put in.
Oh, honey, you didn't get him done down at the mall, did you?
NBC kept it going for 172 episodes before ending it in 1997. Never won an Emmy, didn't need one. Here's the thing, no quotable lines, no iconic moments, it lived completely in Cheers and Frasier's shadow. Solid, dependable, occasionally funny, never great. We watched because it was there. But Wings launched Tony Shalhoub before Monk and gave Thomas Hayden Church work before his Oscar nomination in Sideways. Not bad for a forgotten airport sitcom. From careers taking off at an airport to a cultural revolution launching from a couch in Illinois.
What are you girls doing tonight?
Well, we were going to go out and try to find some dim-witted bald guys.
Number 13. The most watched comedy in America was never once nominated for Outstanding Comedy Series. Let that satisfaction sink in. Roseanne hit #1 in its second season, beating The Cosby Show, and stayed top 5 for 6 straight years. We watched 9 seasons and 222 episodes as the Connors scraped by in Lanford.
Here I am, 5 o'clock in the morning, stuffing breadcrumbs up a dead bird's butt.
Dealing with poverty, addiction, and everything sitcoms pretended didn't exist. John Goodman and Laurie Metcalf were the secret weapons. Metcalf won 3 Emmys, Barr won 1. The show won a Golden Globe and a Peabody. Still no Best Comedy nomination.
Oh, hi, Grandma. Yeah, she's right here.
The final season derailed when they won the lottery, and the finale revealed Dan died of a heart attack. Heavy stuff for 1997. But Roseanne proved Middle America would watch Middle America, and blue-collar families deserved screen time without being punchlines. From the working class struggle to military courtrooms, a show that quietly built the biggest TV empire of the 21st century while nobody was paying attention.
We're ready for you now, Shadow.
The computer's gonna land him?
Yeah, if the heatsink doesn't fry the circuit board.
#12. NBC canceled it after 1 season, and CBS turned it into the mother of television's biggest franchise. Military lawyers investigating crimes. Top Gun meets A Few Good Men. And we watched it for a decade. CBS picked up what NBC threw away and ran it for 9 more seasons, quietly building a massive audience while coastal critics ignored it completely. This was peak Middle America television. Friday nights, steady ratings, 0 buzz, millions tuning in religiously. CBS aired 227 episodes and gave it a proper finale.
Do you have any idea what the Admiral's gonna say when he hears about this?
Oh, I think he'll understand.
No memes, no viral moments, no water cooler episodes. Just solid TV doing its job. But here's the secret. In 2003, JAG aired a 2-part episode that was actually a backdoor pilot for Naval Criminal Investigative Service. Without JAG, that entire franchise doesn't exist. Not the original, not Los Angeles, not New Orleans, not Hawaii, none of it. CBS owes this forgotten show everything. From military justice to childhood innocence, a show that won an Emmy after just 6 episodes and made us feel things we weren't ready for.
I happen to believe that freedom and democracy have certain advantages that communist dictatorships don't, and that is what Vietnam is all about.
#11. It won Outstanding Comedy Series after 6 episodes, and that record still stands. The Wonder Years gave us Fred Savage as Kevin Arnold, a kid navigating the late 60s while Daniel Stern's voiceover told us what it all meant from 20 years later. At 13, Savage became the youngest actor ever nominated for lead actor in a comedy series. ABC aired 115 episodes over 6 seasons of peak boomer nostalgia before we had a word for it, complete with Joe Cockers, with a little help from my friends, scoring every emotional moment. It landed in the Nielsen Top 30 for 4 seasons, and TV Guide called it one of the 20 best shows of the 80s. Then it ended with Kevin and Winnie not ending up together, which felt like betrayal but was actually the point. Life doesn't give you the ending you want. The Wonder Years invented the prestige half-hour dramedy format. Looking backward was the best way to move TV forward. From childhood memories to literal angels, a monster hit that critics absolutely despised.
What do you mean? It's only 7.
Why do they do it, Tess? They invent clocks, and then they become slaves to them.
#10. Critics called it saccharine garbage, and tens of millions of viewers didn't care. 3 angels traveling America helping people at crossroads became one of the biggest hits CBS ever had. Touched by an Angel regularly pulled massive ratings and ranked top 10 for years, while entertainment writers mocked it relentlessly. We didn't have Twitter telling us what opinions to have, so we tuned in every week for hope and inspiration. CBS cashed checks for 9 seasons and 211 episodes. Then television shifted into dark, complex dramas: The Sopranos, The Wire, Lost. Suddenly, angels helping people felt embarrassingly earnest. No room for overt spirituality in the prestige TV era. We moved on to anti-heroes and moral ambiguity because that's what cool people watched. But this proved a massive audience existed for wholesome storytelling that coastal media loved to ignore. That audience migrated to Hallmark and faith-based streaming. Now we're hitting TGIF territory, starting with a future talk show host who made teaching look cool.
Kind of muscle spasm or something.
Maybe it's a delayed muscular contraction brought on by overstimulation.
What? You?
Number 9. A black male teacher as the hero of a primetime sitcom. In 1992, that was revolutionary. Mark Curry played a former NBA player turned high school teacher in Oakland, and for 5 years this was Friday night appointment viewing. Hangin' with Mr. Cooper was part of ABC's TGIF lineup, which meant we organized our social lives around staying home. The show put a charismatic, professional black man front and center without making him a stereotype or punchline. That mattered, even if we didn't appreciate it then. ABC aired 5 seasons and 101 episodes before letting it die quietly in 1997. It lived in the shadow of Family Matters and Boy Meets World, and when TGIF collapsed, it had zero syndication muscle. We forgot it existed. But it paved the way for depicting professional black men without tired tropes, and proved family-friendly black sitcoms could dominate primetime. Speaking of TGIF legends, the next show featured real twin sisters and possibly the catchiest theme song of the decade. You're already hearing it. Number 8. ABC canceled it after 3 seasons like Cowards, and the WB saved it from oblivion. Twins separated at birth reunite as teenagers and convince their single parents to live together. Sister Sister starred actual twins Tia and Tamara Mowry, giving the show chemistry you couldn't fake. It tackled blended families and teenage problems with humor instead of after-school special melodrama. That theme song? Embedded in your brain forever. You just heard it. ABC bailed, but the WB picked it up for 3 more seasons, giving us 6 seasons and 119 episodes before ending in 1999. When TGIF died and the WB eventually shut down, the show had nowhere to live. No streaming, no syndication presence, just gone. An entire generation never discovered it. But it launched the Mowry twins into legit careers and proved sitcoms centered on black teen girls could dominate ratings and own the cultural conversation. From twin sisters to a teenage witch who owned TGIF and made every girl wish for magic powers.
A bracelet, it's beautiful.
Read the inscription.
Harvey digs Sabrina.
Number 7. Before you yell in the comments that Sabrina isn't forgotten because it's streaming, compared to Friends or Seinfeld, this show gets zero respect, and that's criminal. A teenage girl discovers she's a witch on her 16th birthday and has to balance magic with normal high school drama. Sabrina owned TGIF, pulling over 17 million viewers for its debut. Melissa Joan Hart became the girl every teenage boy crushed on, and the show featured Britney Spears and the Backstreet Boys when those guest spots actually mattered. We watched 7 seasons and 163 episodes before it ended in 2003. When it moved from high school to college and jumped from ABC to the WB, it lost everything that made it work. The magic premise ran out of steam, but it spawned an animated series, and decades later, Netflix gave us that dark reboot nobody asked for. From teenage witches with talking cats to workplace chaos, the next show features one of the most devastating moments in sitcom history.
Oh, pretty ballerina! Queen of England? Gay construction worker.
Number 6. Phil Hartman was the glue holding this show together, and then he was gone forever. A workplace sitcom at a New York radio station with Dave Foley, Hartman, Andy Tierney, and Stephen Root became critically beloved for sharp writing and perfect ensemble chemistry. Critics loved it, awards voters loved it, NBC kept moving it around the schedule like they wanted it to fail. Then in 1998, tragedy destroyed everything. Hartman was murdered by his wife in a murder-suicide that shocked the world. We couldn't process it. The show tried continuing with John Lovitz, but how do you recover from that? NBC canceled it in 1999 after 5 seasons and 97 episodes. It never found mainstream audiences, and Hartman's death meant the show can't exist in memory without that devastating association. But it's a cult classic among comedy writers and launched careers, including Joe Rogan before he became the podcast king. From workplace tragedy to losing a star who defined a show, the next one gutted us when its lead walked away. Number 5. Michael J. Fox announced he was leaving because of Parkinson's disease. And we weren't ready. Fox starred as Deputy Mayor Mike Flaherty for 4 seasons, turning Spin City into a top 25 hit while managing political chaos at a fictional New York City hall. He won 3 consecutive Emmys and 3 Golden Globes, dominating award season with sharp political satire. We loved this show. Then in 2000, Fox made the heartbreaking announcement. That gutted us. Charlie Sheen took over, and the show kept going 2 more seasons, but it wasn't the same. How could it be? Ratings dropped and ABC canceled it in 2002 after 6 seasons and 145 episodes. The show was so defined by Fox that without him, it became another workplace comedy without identity. But Spin City launched careers. Bill Lawrence went on to create Scrubs and co-create Ted Lasso. From political chaos to marital mismatch, Chuck Lorre before Chuck Lorre became Chuck Lorre. Number 4. They got married on their first date, and ABC stretched that premise for 5 seasons until it snapped. A free-spirited yoga instructor and an uptight lawyer falling in love immediately became a top 25 fixture. Jenna Elfman won a Golden Globe in 1999, and the show pulled 8 Golden Globe nominations and 6 Emmy nominations total. This was early Chuck Lorre, the guy who later create 2.5 Men and The Big Bang Theory, so the formula was already taking shape. ABC moved it following Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and when Millionaire cooled off and NBC threw Frasier against it, everything collapsed. ABC canceled it in 2002 without a proper finale. We never found out what happened. The entire show was hippie versus yuppie culture clash, and after dozens of episodes mining that tension, nothing remained. But Dharma and Greg is the blueprint for Lori's empire of mismatched relationships. From opposites attracting to fashion magazine backstabbing, a show that only existed because of where NBC scheduled it.
I'm paying you!
Number 3. Take away its time slot, and this show was nothing. A workplace sitcom and a fashion magazine with Laura San Giacomo, George Siegel, Wendy Malick, and David Spade doing his trademark smug asshole routine got wedged into NBC's must-see TV Thursday lineup near Friends and ER. That's basically winning the lottery. We watched because we were committed to 3 hours on the couch and nobody was getting up. The show earned 6 Emmy nominations and 7 Golden Globe nominations. Wild numbers for something nobody discusses now. Creator Stephen Levitan went on to co-create Modern Family, so clearly the guy had talent. Then NBC moved it out of Thursday nights for its final season. Without the must-see TV safety net, it collapsed immediately. NBC killed it in 2003 after 7 seasons and 148 episodes. The ultimate time slot parasite, thriving purely on placement. But it nailed the dysfunctional workplace template that Ugly Betty refined later. From fashion disasters to neurotic marriages, a show that made its stars richer than the Friends cast.
This new chapter of your professional career. Honey, that's so sweet.
Number 2. Helen Hunt won 4 consecutive Emmys, and somehow this show still vanished from cultural memory. Paul Reiser and Hunt played a neurotic married couple in New York City, with prestige-level performances that dominated award season. The show racked up about a dozen primetime Emmys and was considered one of NBC's flagship adult comedies. Here's the insane part. Reiser and Hunt each made around $1 million per episode in the final season. Friends cast money for a show nobody under 40 remembers. NBC ended it in 1999 after 7 seasons and 164 episodes with a proper finale. It was laser focused on late 90s urban neurotic relationship anxiety, and that specificity killed its shelf life. The show did an entire episode from a dog's perspective and a silent episode before other shows tried those gimmicks. Mad About You exists in the same universe as Friends. Ursula was introduced here first. It proved you could win every award and still get forgotten when the decade ended. And finally, a Cheers legend who proved he could absolutely do it all over again.
Whatever you do, never ever go to a hospital. You got a problem, throw yourself in front of a train.
Number 1. Ted Danson played a doctor who hated everyone, and CBS gave us House before House existed. Becker starred Danson as a miserable, burned-out physician running a clinic in the Bronx, despising every patient while somehow keeping them alive. It was a legit hit, anchoring CBS's Monday night comedy block alongside Everybody Loves Raymond for years. We loved watching Cheers' lovable nice guy transform into a complete jerk. bitter, cynical, brilliantly annoyed by humanity. Then CBS got ambitious and moved Becker to Sundays to build a new comedy night. Ratings tanked immediately. The show couldn't survive outside its comfortable Monday slot, where audiences just kept the TV rolling. CBS canceled it in 2004 after 6 seasons and 129 episodes without a proper finale. A time slot hit, not a fandom obsession. When they shuffled it, we didn't follow. We had lives. But Becker proved Danson was bulletproof. He could carry anything after Cheers, paving the way for his reinvention in Damages and The Good Place decades later. Did I miss any forgotten shows from this era? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.